Hello everyone, welcome to Durrett's Take. Let's get started. So as I do at the beginning of each week, I go over my one phrase and some short summary for each NFL game. So let's start with the Jacksonville versus Cincinnati football game. 19 in a row. Even when the Jags were up 14-0, I knew Cincinnati was going to come back. Sure enough, I was right. Now, also, like I said, I predicted this game would be the game for Lawrence to kind of look good, and he did. Um, Sadly, while moral victories are nice, Jags have lost 19 in a row, so failed fourth down conversion and a bad blitz called on the final drive really costed them. Um, sorry. Also, wide receiver DJ Chalk might be out for the year, so that definitely hurts the Jaguars. Maybe against division leader Tennessee is on upset alert um, because they lost the Jets, but we'll see. Washington versus Atlanta. Number 4 was clutch in the fourth. Heineke made the big plays necessary and led the comeback for Washington. Now they keep themselves within that division race, just being only a game behind Dallas right now. But once again, Washington still has to figure out their defensive issues. Houston versus Buffalo. Buffalo had an extra bye week. When the final score is 40-0, consider that a bye week. Detroit versus Chicago. Lions kryptonite. Well, if we are being honest, Lions have multiple flaws, but one flaw that has shown up in all their games so far, and it's hard to ignore, is they give up a lot of rushing yards. Whether it was the 49ers in their first game, Packers' second game, Ravens' third game, although Ravens love to run the ball, and then now this game. They gave up for 180 rushing yards with Chicago's battle lines. That's pretty pathetic there. And that's, double than what Detroit produced on the ground. So that's how Chicago. This is how Chicago can win games going forward. If they can rush for near 200 yards, that's going to help Justin Fields or even Andy Dalton win games because their O-line is bad with pass blocking. Indianapolis versus Miami. Taylor the mayor. It's been decided. Jonathan Taylor's in charge here with the Colts. They performed horribly for the first half of the game, basically. Once they started relying on John Taylor, and then they exploded on offense, and Miami had no answers as they wore down throughout the game. He went for 103 yards and touchdowns. So if I'm the Colts, especially with Wentz the way he is, just rely on Jonathan Taylor and that run game in general. Cleveland versus Minnesota. Student becomes the master. Mike Zimmer's former assistant in their first, head-to-head matchup beat Zimmer at home. Now, I've been on the train where after the season the Vikings missed the playoffs, I feel like Zimmer should be let go. He's necessarily a bad coach, but I feel like it's like, Boston Celtics with Brad Stevens. It just kind of feels like that time where they need a new voice, new leader type of thing, new energy on the sidelines. But it's not looking good for Minnesota right now. Tennessee versus New York Jets. Turning on the Jets. Albeit against a bad Titans defense, and Titans didn't have, A.J. Brown or Julio Jones, and their O-line was banged up. Jets finally didn't look pathetic on offense, mainly the second half, and the defense had they had 7 sacks, so they definitely gave Tannehill some problems. So against Atlanta and London, Atlanta has a bad defense. Hopefully this can be a momentum builder for the Jets going into the bye week. Kansas City versus Philadelphia. Mahomes is home. Mahomes was electric on offense, scoring 40-plus against albeit against a bad Philly defense, but at least besides the one interception, he looked very good. Didn't look as rusty as he did, let's say, against the Chargers or something. Now, if I'm a Chiefs fan, I'm still concerned that the team gave up 30 points to Jalen Hurts, and that defense still sucks right now. But take a game by game. New York Giants versus New Orleans. Saints left church too early. Saints were up 21-10 after Taysom Hill's second rushing touchdown, and everything was going according to plan, but then how I thought it was going to go. But then the Saints defense took the rest of the game off and allowed the Giants to come back and get the win. So once again, Saints might be the most hard team to figure out this year. Really inconsistent. I still think the Giants suck, but a good win for them. Carolina versus Dallas. Zeke got to feast. Zeke ran for 143 yards and a touchdown. The Cowboys in jail ran for 245 rushing yards. Repeat, 245 rushing yards. Carolina has been a top 5 rushing defense coming into this game, and a top 5-10 defense overall. So this shows you that if Dallas can win multiple games, they don't have to rely just on Dak in that pass game. They can be able to run the ball, and then also, you turn on the defense, and they become a more dangerous team. Arizona versus LA Rams. Murray now the MVP frontrunner. I did not see this coming if you asked me last week, because I thought the Rams were going to blow Arizona out because McVay's had Arizona's number. Plus, I feel like Arizona's defense would give up a lot, but I'm impressed with what Arizona's able to do. Seattle versus San Francisco. Jimmy G hurt again. Once again, Jimmy G cannot stay healthy. Luckily, Shanahan is prepared this time and has drafted Trey Lance to help out. And he did good for a rookie. I still think Lance will experience some rookie growing pains, going forward. I'm not sure how long Jimmy G is going to be out for, maybe a couple weeks. We'll see. Baltimore versus Denver. Bridgewater is better than Locke. Bridgewater had a concussion, so Locke had to came in. We all could see the drop-off there. So it just shows that Bridgewater is better than Locke at this point. But also, remember how I said Denver's a soft 3-0 because, they opened up the Giants and the Jets and the Jags. Well, now it looks like they instead of like a playoff team, it's like, okay, now we got to pump the brakes on them, basically. Pittsburgh versus Green Bay. Battle of the old timers. So Big Ben and Rodgers, both Hall of Famers duked it out. But the differences between them is that there's one that is by age won the MVP last year and still plays down, and then there's another who looks like he's already retired in Big Ben. I just really don't see how Big Ben survives this whole year, and I honestly don't see how Pittsburgh can get to just 6 wins this year. It's gonna be rough for them. Tampa Bay versus New England. Brady wins the divorce. So Brady wins the Super Bowl last year. It's like if your ex leaves you suddenly and then they go find their new spouse and they have success with that new spouse, and that kind of stings a little bit. And then you decide to be a bigger person and invite them over to your home, for a gathering, and then you start ending up beefing and end up competing each other and getting arguments. You thinking you're delivering a good argument or a blow, whatever, but then all of a sudden your ex has to drop the mic moment to show that they won everything, the argument and everything, and it kind of stings even more. So that's kind of what happened here with Belichick. I mean, Belichick on defense confused the heck out of Tom Brady in that game. It was unfortunately a bad call to go for that field goal at the end instead of just going for on 4th and 3. But other than that, he made pretty good coach decisions, and yet again, Brady was able to deliver the drop the mic moment. It'll be interesting to see if they play each other again before Brady retires. Las Vegas versus LA Chargers. Light them up, or lightning them up. So the Chargers were able to be very good on offense. Now the Raiders have cornerback injury issues, so they were able to take advantage of that, but still they were able to march down right down the field on offense, go up 21-0 at halftime, and then when they needed that score to starve off the Raiders, they were able to do so. So it just shows they're going to be a very Harbor. I'm still not going to say quite yet he's a top 5 QB, but he's close. And the Chargers are definitely going to be a playoff contender. So now I'm going to go over my top 5 takeaways from this past college football week. So let's get started. My first takeaway is it's Bama and Georgia will meet in the championship game. And I'm not talking about just the SEC title game here. I'm saying these two teams will meet in the national championship game like they did a couple years ago. Now, I'm not going to say who's going to win. I mean, I feel like Bama and Georgia, if they meet twice, I feel like they would split, even though Saban's never lost to assistant. I feel like they would split just because it'll be hard to beat Saban twice in a row in one season. So, and I'm not sure which is which, but both teams will make the playoffs and both teams should make the championship game. Number 2, 4 seed is wide open. So, like I said, Bama and Georgia will get the bid, and I think the Big 10 champion will get a non-bag bid. So now it's up. Okay, now who's going to get that 4 seed? Because if Oklahoma runs the table, we think it'll be them. But if they slip up once, along with all the other close calls they had, and the fact that they just haven't looked good in general, despite being 12-1, they still might get left out. Unlike in the past where they would still get in, they might get left out. The ACC is, I don't even a one loss Wake Forest. I don't think that, or undefeated Wake Forest, I feel like might not even get in. And then Pac-12 is basically with Oregon losing. I feel like Oregon have to win now in order to give themselves still a shot. But if they lose one more, and I feel like Pac-12 is definitely out. Now, what about Cincinnati? Now they've got the key wing against Notre Dame, so if they run the table and look impressive, then maybe they could have a group of 5 team in. Or they maybe even can go with whoever, like let's say, Penn State, Iowa, for example, they meet each other this week. So let's say Iowa wins, but then they both re-meet in the Big 12 Big Ten championship game with Penn State having just that one loss, and then Iowa would be undefeated. But then Iowa loses the Big Ten championship game. Penn State wins, they both have one. So maybe you get a situation like that where both teams would get in. Or you could have a third SEC team if there's only one loss SEC team that's not Bama or Georgia. Maybe they get the last spot. So there's a whole bunch of different options there that the committee could go with. This is pretty wide open this year, unlike last year where it was Notre Dame and A&M, and even then we pretty much knew Notre Dame was going to get in. Third, ACC and Pac-12 are competing with each other for the worst Power 5 conference. Wake Forest now remains the only unbeaten ACC team, and there's no unbeatens left in the Pac-12. Now the problem is this kind of like a year thing, or is this a sign of things to come? I think, unfortunately, maybe the latter. The first real top 5 matchup of the Saturday. So like I said earlier, Penn State and Georgia play this Saturday. Now we had a top 5 matchup in Georgia and Clemson in week 1, but as we can see how Clemson is, that wasn't truly a top 5 matchup. But I think Penn State and Iowa are truly top 5 caliber teams right now, so this will be a truly top 5 matchup. I think it'll be pretty good. I'll go over my predictions later on in the week, so I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm looking forward to the matchup there. Number 5. There's a little conference realignment news. So according to the sources, the Mountain West will all remain intact, which means the American won't be able to poach, Boise State and San Diego State and all that, to beef themselves back up. So this is huge for the Mountain West and the Group of 5 ranks. I feel like with this can make Mountain West. They used to be the best Group of 5 conference, but then the American has taken over for years. But I feel like, especially Cincinnati's eventually going to leave for the Big 12. UCF going to leave for Big 12. Houston going to leave for Big 12. See, right now you got good teams like SMU. Good and all that, but there's really not a lot of depth there like the Mountain West has right now. So I feel like the Mountain West can become the best G5 conference again. The only scenario I could see what the American does here where they can kind of save themselves is, let's say they take Army. They're independent. You can easily just take them, pair them up with Navy. And then also you take the best teams from the Sun Belt. So you take Louisiana, you take Appalachian State, and then you take Coastal Carolina. So and you can approach the Sun Belt saying, hey, Sun Belt, do you want to just dissolve, let's combine conferences together? Or it's like, we'll poach your best teams, and then you have to maybe go on scraps for SCS teams to kind of complete your conference there, if you want to stay viable type of thing. So it would suck for the Sun Belt either way. That's an option I would do if I'm the American Conference, because obviously as of right now, I don't feel like if they stay put as of where they are right now, or eventually when the 3 teams go to the Big 12, then I feel like Mountain West will be head shoulders above. Like if it wasn't for Cincinnati right now, I feel like Mountain West in general would be the best conference right now, G5 conference right now. So that's it for today. Please subscribe to my podcast. Tell everyone about me. Thank you very much, and you'll have a wonderful day.